Hi everyone. It's good to see you today. I am not always very good at going on camera. It's not my favorite thing to do. I feel very uncomfortable. You may wonder why I'm always wearing a hat. Well, it's not because I'm going bald. I almost wish that I was. It's because, well, here, I'll show you. It's because of this. See this mess? So I have to cover it up with a hat. I just feel better that way. But anyway, one moment while I put my hat back on. All right, I'm back. Thank you. Let's talk about hair for a little bit, because my next project has a little something to do with hair. And I'm going to be sharing that with you all. When I was a boy, I'm adopted. Let me first of all start with that. I've talked about that in other videos. But when I was adopted with a family, to a family that probably should have never had a child or adopted a child. They weren't very good parents. But because of YouTube and monetization, I really won't go into details about what happened. I've done that in other videos, and that's enough of that. But I never looked like my adoptive parents. My father had straight black hair, very thick black hair, very, very thick and completely straight. And he wore it parted and slicked back with whatever they had back then, Brill Cream, Vitalis, I don't know. My mother was a natural redhead she had long curly red hair. When I was a boy, it was down past her waist. But as I got older, she cut her hair. Why am I telling you this? Well, I always stood out. I didn't look like their child, and people would comment on that. And you have to understand that that's a very tough thing for a kid to hear from others. Even after I found out I was adopted, and I found out very young. Some of my adoptive cousins took it upon themselves to tell me, haha, you're not their real child, you're adopted. You know, that old Jim. And so I knew from a young age I was adopted. And somehow when people would say, he doesn't look like you, or does he look like the grandfather or the grandmother or whatever, I always kind of felt, like somebody who was on the outside. And for many reasons that existed. I mean, I was in an abusive household. And the adoptive family that I had considered me less because I was adopted. Growing up, I heard this a lot. I remember my adoptive aunt, my adoptive mother's sister, once saying to me as a child, she loves you almost as much as if you were her own child. That does things to a child. I hope that even if one of you were thinking these kind of thoughts and this steers you in a different direction, then me telling this has had some benefit. It's not good to say things like that to a child, because a child, those wounds from childhood are still here at age 60. We'll talk more about that. I won't be 60 until a few weeks from now, but that's another video. But I'm very quickly approaching it. Anyway, what does this have to do with hair? Because I had very wavy, coarse hair, my mother tried all the little tricks of using those same kind of products in my hair that my father used, and my coarse, curly hair would just soak it up, and it didn't straighten it. Although she did, I have a few childhood pictures where my mother straightened it, all pulled it back, and dried it with her bonnet dryer. Yes, my mother did that to me as a kid to try to make me look a little more normal, because I just didn't look like their child. And so she was trying to make me look more like theirs. I think she had good intentions. I'm telling this story. Perhaps I shouldn't be sharing this story to talk about a product that I'm making, but I'm trying to get to a point. But my hair was always a object of shame for me growing up. I never liked that. You have to understand, I grew up I was a teenager in the 70s when boys had long flowing hair down their shoulders and it would blow in the wind, and mine just grew into a big fro. It was even thicker than, my hair is still really thick when I go and get it, when I do get it cut. I'm always told how thick it is. Well, when I was a kid, it was a lot thicker than this, and it would just stand straight up. I mean, straight up. And if you ever have seen the artist's Kid and Play, yep, that was me. And there are very few pictures from that period of time in my life, thank goodness. There was no Facebook back then. There was no Twitter. There was no internet. And I'm very thankful for that. But kids would poke at me about my hair. I was called all sorts of names, and I was kind of a sissy little kid, and it was because, and some of that's because I was abused a lot as a kid. I've talked about that in other videos, so I won't delve into that, but that made me rather timid, and so kids see that as a weakness, and so that, and then the bushy hair, that's what a lot of times they called me, was bushy head or nappy head. I heard all sorts of these kind of phrases. And if it weren't for a couple of African American little girls at my school who kind of took me under their wing because they'd taken abuse because of their hair, I don't think I would have survived. I think I would have been one of those suicidal kids that you hear about. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So, jump forward into adulthood. So in my younger adulthood, people would touch my hair because it was wavy and it sticks out. It's bushy. It doesn't lay down, and it's got where it lays down now as I've got older, but I think a lot of that is because it's heavier. I've let it get longer and it kind of just hangs down. I'll talk more about why I've let it grow long. But people would touch it, or they'd ask me questions. I've had people ask me, is that a wig? Yeah, people ask that kind of question, and that's really offensive. I would never walk up to anyone and say, are you wearing a wig? Because I would assume, even if it was obviously a wig, that they're wearing it for a reason. Maybe they have cancer, or maybe they don't like the hair that they have, and so they are wearing a wig. Or maybe they just like a lot of change and they don't want to damage the hair that they have, so wigs are a great alternative. So why would you ever ask someone if it's a wig? It's one thing to compliment someone, hey, I love your hairstyle, or say nothing. I personally wish people had said nothing to me a lot of times, So, my hair has always been a point of contention for me. And much of my life, I wore it very short. So the curls didn't even show because I would wear it really, really short on my scalp. And most pictures of me throughout my life, it was pretty short. And it was for that reason I didn't want to deal with that kind of thing. Well, then as the years passed, if my hair get too long, I would hear people whispering behind my back and making comments because I've got older, I've got fatter, I've got dental problems, which is why I don't smile. Not because I didn't brush my teeth. I was very much a toothbrush fanatic. I took very good care of my teeth. I ate a lot of lemons as a kid, and I did a lot of things like that, but most of the problems with my teeth are because my birth mother was a drug addict. She didn't take care of herself. I got no prenatal care. She got no prenatal care. I was abandoned as a baby, as a newborn. I was abandoned. I never got my mother's milk, or I just wasn't taken care of. And even after the family that first took me, got me, they didn't treat me right. I was basically left in a room, a newborn baby. for a 7 and an 8-year-old kid to take care of. That mother was a drug addict too. She was a friend of my birth mother. This was before I was adopted. That's another story too. I wasn't actually adopted. And that caused me problems throughout my life too. But boy, am I talking a lot, right? That's what this video is. I needed to say a lot of stuff, because if I keep the stuff in, it just eats at me. So having the camera to talk to, and you, my friends at YouTube, I thought, you'll tell me what your thoughts are. But as I've got older, I've got much more secure about who I am. I don't care what people think. The reason why I'm letting my hair grow out now, actually, is because I'm donating my hair. I won't go into a long story about that, because I don't think people should talk about charity work that they do. If you do it, just do it because you love doing it. Don't do it because you want to brag to your friends about it, right? But anyway, one of the things that I've decided is that I'm going to quit caring. Not caring's the wrong word. I do care what people think. Of course I do. Because I think caring about other people is the most important thing that we do. Not money. Money is nice for the temporary. Sure. You know, you can get a big screen TV, you can get a camera, you can get a new computer, you can dress your kids well, you can send your kids to the best schools, you can buy your spouse great gifts over the holidays. Yeah, money has a purpose. If you don't have any, unless you're very self-sufficient and you can live in the wild, money is a necessity for all of us. But I still think the most important thing is other people. And not just how you treat other people, but how you present yourself to other people. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily your appearance, not your weight, not your hair, but your personality. Who you are. Who you are isn't this or this. It isn't. If you're in a wreck and your face is horribly burned, are you still you in there? You get where I'm going with this? It's about you. Yes, you're going to look different. Yes, I don't look like I did when I was 18 or 16 or 5. This is what 60-year-old Patrick has become. And I'm not someone who looks in the mirror and goes, oh my God, what happened to you? Because I got a lot of joy over the years. I had someone that I loved. I spent many years with someone I loved until their death. And that's a gift that nobody can take, that will live with me forever and till the day I die. But all of this thought, all of this conversation that I'm having with you, all stems around hair. Primarily, that's the subject matter. And I'm going to be making a product for you all. And for me, it's something that I've used religiously for about 15 years. And I've never shown this to anyone. I've never shared it with anyone. It's not that it's any big secret. It's something my mother created for me. And it's something that I now create and have created for years. I've never sold it. I've never given it away. It was just mine because it's the only thing that really controlled this. I've bought a lot of products for my hair. My hair soaks them up, and then it's either heavy and weighted down, or it makes my hair frizzier, or it just feels gummy in my hair. I've never found the perfect thing. And so I created the perfect thing. Now, that doesn't mean it's the perfect thing for you. But I think that if you have dry hair, you have coarse hair, or you're really curly hair, that it may be beneficial. Some people call it a hair mask, this type of thing, but a mask suggests you're covering something up. This isn't that. This is something that adds back essential moisture to the hair, not gumminess or waxes to the hair. But I'll show you that in an upcoming video. But I just wanted to take this time to just share with you all, and I don't know why. I don't know what it was about today, but I just needed to talk to someone. I'm not in a bad way. I do have depression. I sometimes have very deep, dark depression, but I haven't in a while. I've been feeling pretty good. Well, I have off days on occasion, but overall, and I think I owe a lot of that to the job. I do work a 9-to-5 job, and I do it from my home. I basically sit at a computer and on a telephone talking to people and helping people throughout the day. That is my 9-to-5. I work for a corporation, and I work 40 to 50 hours a week. That's what I do. Plus, I run my farm. Hey, it works. I manage it. It's not that hard. If you organize and you do things right, you can do it. And then I run my Etsy business, which kind of runs itself. All I do is create the products and then package them when people buy them and ship them. So it's not as big of a challenge as it might seem like. There are times when I'm very envious of people that have a spouse that helps them. Yeah, envious is the right word. When I hear I think it's wonderful, and I'm very happy for people that have a spouse or a significant other or a sibling or a parent that helps them with their creations and their craft and helps them with shipping and those sort of things, because it is a booger sometimes. The business is good. The Etsy stuff goes well. I have frequent sales. I'm sorry, got a little tongue-tied. Yes, tongue-tied. I can say tongue-tied because I was as a child. That's another story. See, I've just got all these stories, right? And I never get back to them. But I will try to, in upcoming videos, clarify and answer any questions you have about anything I've brought up, because my short-term memory is going. I'm not dying, but my short-term memory has gone kaput. Where, oh where could it be? I don't know. I sometimes, and this isn't like just walking into a room and going, why did I come in here? I sometimes am in a room and go, was I somewhere else? Let me give you an example. It's been really cold. It's in the 20s right now. But I know for some of you it's even colder than that, but for Northeast Texas, that's cold. Not like it was last year when it was below zero, but that was horrible. But it's cold. That's why I've got my Smokey the Bear shirt on. It's very warm. But I've got a little propane heater, a portable propane heater that I sometimes, it's safe for indoor use. It's not the kind you use outside. But that being said, I brought it in. I had it between the kitchen and my office, just to warm that area a little bit during the day when I'm working. So I don't have to turn on the house furnace, which is very expensive to run and not necessary. Don't need to heat the whole house. This house is much bigger than I need. Thank goodness I use a lot of it for my soaping business. I basically live in my business rather than my business being where I live. That's how it feels anyway sometimes. But I brought this little heater in and I had it between, well, I just told you. So I had it on the floor and I had to walk around it to get a drink of water, to go into the kitchen, get a drink of water. And so I stepped right around it and got my glass of water, and I turned around and I tripped over it. I completely forgot it was there. And that bothered me. Not because I tripped, I caught myself. So I wasn't hurt or anything, and the heater was fine. But it did concern me, because it's like, how can you forget things like that? And it happens. I can make labels. I can be in one room making labels or getting the products ready. Then I go over to the printer to print the labels, and then I have to remember what product I was making labels for. So I've started keeping Post-it notes. And that's great as long as you remember where the Post-it notes are. I haven't seen a doctor about this yet, but I plan on it. I have insurance. I have a health savings account so that, it's not costly for me to do that. But I just haven't got around to it, and I need to get around to it because it's that important. So this is just a getting to know me kind of video, I guess. I wasn't intending on it going this route, but sometimes that's what happens. Gosh, I knew there was something else I forgot to tell you. You know the dog I got a few weeks ago that I had in a video, Leah? She is not... oh, here I go again. See, I've forgotten the word. Oh my goodness, what is it? The female version of neutered. Males get neutered, females get... I know it, please. You don't have to tell me, because I do know it. I have to try to work through this, but I won't say it now. I'm not going to stress on that. Okay. So she wasn't that. Okay, the female was not. So I asked the folks if she'd been around any males during her heat, the time when they can get pregnant. And they said, oh, absolutely not. No, no, no. And she's a replacement for my dog Lucy that died. And so she was an adult dog, 2 years old. And that's why I didn't want a puppy and have to start over training one and stuff. And so I got her. She looked healthy, very healthy and happy. You saw her in the video. A very nice dog. Well, a few days ago, I couldn't find her anywhere. And, well, long story short, or long story longer, she ended up under an area where I keep hay for the goats. And she went under there. And when I found her, she had 10 puppies. Beautiful little puppies. I love puppies, but I can't have 10 puppies. I can't keep them. I can't afford them. The animals I have, just buying like Barry, for instance, just buying Barry's medicines and stuff so that he doesn't get fleas or worms and stuff costs me $60 a month. And then you don't want to hear about what it costs for the goats and even for the poultry, the things I have to do. And trying to keep, and for all my poultry and stuff, I have to go organic and all natural for anything that I use because I eat them. Sorry. But I do try to be very conscious of that, and that's expensive. The only reason I'm telling you this is that 10 puppies is a big deal. I'll try to give them away, but yeah, 10 puppies. I'll try to get some video of those coming up, but it sure was a surprise. I'll try to at least put a picture on this video because I do have a picture of them. But yeah, that's what's going on here on the farm. Well, it was great seeing you all. I really appreciate you. Please have a fantastic day, everyone. I look forward to seeing you back soon. Goodbye.